check, 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 check. Good morning. How the heck are you doing? I like that. My favorite line is better than I deserve. And that is true. So I have good news and I have bad news. My dad's going home. Bad news is I'm going to miss him. You know, it's amazing, it's absolutely amazing that he turned 93 while he was here, so he's 93 years old. You know, he talked like never before. He's calling Chetty Cathy, or Chetty Charlie, because his name is Charles. But I learned more in this visit during this time than I learned probably in years of having conversations with my father. So, that's the cool part. That was fun. That was very cool. So, thanks for indulging me on that. But he's going home. My mom's going to be the one that's happy. So, we have a number of little things. I apologize for the tardiness. The presentation was long. I tried to cover a lot of stuff, and then I thought, well, let me cut this off and I'll move this. So if you expect a long presentation, a long conversation about the dining program, tune in March, because that's when I'll do that. I cut that down, so I know there's a lot of questions about why we raised our prices. Well, I'll put it in a nutshell for you, is because we're paying you to consume food. That's right. The food some of the food that we provide on the menu, we're actually paying you to eat. Crab Lakes is one of them. So while you're going to see an increase in the budget for a variety of things, you'll also see a decrease in the menu prices, not budget, menu prices. When you see an increase in the menu prices, you also see a decrease in the menu prices, because philosophically, I believe, and this is how I was trained, and there's people in the room who trained me, so the whole idea and the whole concept about the dining program is to allow somebody to consume 30 meals, a meal a day in the dining room on a full dining plan. That's the philosophy. Fair enough? Now, when you do that, the only way that happens is if we subsidize the dining program. We don't have any problems with that, but we can't subsidize a lot of things. So there's my teaser for February for the March chat. So hopefully a lot of people will come and we can have a lively discussion about that. For questions, you know what to do. jkvlive@johnknox.com. You can put calls in at 386-456-1558 or send text messages to 386-507-4236. Most people are very good about sending those in advance, and I appreciate that. And you all know what the next slide is. Who here doesn't know what Val is? Besides Sarah sitting in the back. I'll get to Sarah. Village Alert Line, please. Anytime we have some things changing, we have some projects. We're going to be starting, here's another little hint, we're going to be starting a paving project, a massive paving project. We'll be sending out vals as far as what roads will be closed or what roads will have restricted access. Don't delete that. Please make sure you pay attention to the Village Alert Line and the information that's sent out on that. I can always tell when it's 4 o'clock on Friday because that's when mine comes through. Administration, either I'm having problems with my eyes or this is blurry to me. All right. Can you see that okay? All right, independent living, this is where we start, is 93.7. Now, again, caveat, please indulge me. I try to play with some of these things a little bit. I've been changing reports and things I do for the board and things I do for resident council, and I want to be able to bring some of those things to you. So Independent living is 487 out of 520 for that's 93.7. That is also 9 additional deposits, because if you're going to say, well, Joe, it was 491 last month, what's going on? Well, deposits also went up. Cottages, 275 out of 208. This is the breakdown of independent living, 275 out of 288. Apartments, 71 out of 90. Villas, 141 out of 142. Oakview Suites is 47 out of 49, and I think probably shortly will be 49 out of 49. Memory Care is 43 out of 64, and Majestic Oaks is 125 out of 150. And we spoke about that. Remember, after they did their renovation, they moved their beds, they opened up all their hallways, and they went from 135 to 150. It's a total capacity of 150 beds. Memory Care, we're going to get there. We'll have a chat about that in just a little bit as we move on there. Important dates. I decided this is a new kind of slide. Hope you like it. What I tried to do is I tried to capture some dates that you should not forget. And if you haven't done your ad valorem, and some of you have not, makeup is Friday at 9 a.m. You have until noon at the center information desk. Tours, resident tours for PMC are February 24th and February 27th. 24th is in the afternoon from 2 to 4. 27th is 9 to 11. Coffee with this very next Wednesday, the same time, Martha Cullen will be doing her Coffee with. Employee scholarship fundraising. If we've given thanks to your generosity, we've been able to give away over $101,000 for employee scholarships. We're going to do a little fundraising party, cocktail party, February 26th. We want to be able to share some of the good stories, how that money has affected employees' lives already, and what every little bit helps. 100% of the funds that you give go to employees, and there is no tie. They don't have any requirements or any golden handcuffs, if you would, that they have to work for us. You can't do that with the scholarship program. We can do that with tuition reimbursement, but we cannot do it with the scholarship. So February 26th, that will be at the Jack West Clubhouse. So we'd love to see you there. And then the Board Resident Quarterly, if I have that correctly, it is March 17th. And then something we're going to start at the Board Resident Quarterlies is we're going to do board introductions. So Bill O'Connor and Paula Kelton will take a few minutes at the beginning of that meeting and tell you a little bit about themselves, so you can learn a little bit more about the board. Cool? All right, personnel updates. If you didn't know, we have just named Rob as the head of security. Stan did a phenomenal job of interviewing people, finding people. We had a lot of very good candidates for this. In the end, we decided to go in-house, and we promoted Rob to that position. So when you see him, congratulate him. He was the interim security chief. Please congratulate him on the job that he did and on his promotion. Director of Nursing at Majestic Oaks. She was new. She started yesterday. We'll get into that. Wellness Coordinator, Sarah Tracy. Sarah, you want to stand up for us? This is Sarah Tracy. Now, I know I'm going to embarrass her because, yes, she does look like she's only about 16 years old. But she is the one taking Amanda Logan's place as a wellness liaison. So, Sarah, welcome. Sales counselor. We're still recruiting a sales counselor for us, and we classified that as assisted living. So since we now have about 124 beds in assisted living, we're going to dedicate a sales counselor to that. Facilities manager. I have my final interview this afternoon, so we may be announcing that. And again, wow, with that, the fundraiser again. Subliminal hint. All right. Something new that we're doing, and I'm actually thrilled about this. I am happy. One of the things that we do is we take our top people and we give them the title of director. When in actuality, we are a $50+ million organization and we still use the title as director. So what everybody did is all the directors and Scott got a promotion to a higher title, well deserved. And their titles, and we're going to modify some of those, so they'll all get new business cards, all get little signs on their door, but they all went to VP titles. So, for example, Tammy Ozit is now VP of Sales and Marketing. Stan is VP of Campus Services. Mitch is VP of Pharmacy Services. Mark, VP of Facility Operations. Elvira, VP of Human Resources. Michael is VP of Healthcare Operations. Anthony, we decided to change it to Culinary Services. So he's the VP of Culinary Services. Nicole Vega, VP of Clinical Services. And Scott, who was just, I think his title was Manager or Supervisor, we moved him up to a Director. Why would I do that? Well, one of the things that we work very hard to do is perpetuate our own talent. We have to grow our own to be successful because our culture is different, you're different, your expectations are different. And you can't just come into the organization and jump in and automatically everything is good. You're going to struggle. So the whole idea is part of our succession planning is we move these people up in title and then we hire people underneath them that are directors that are worked on, they work and are trained for the next however many years, 5 years maybe. If we're talking about Michael, 5 years for him to be prepared to take my position. There's a lot to know in that period of time. There's a lot to be able to glean to get that level of expertise. It doesn't snap your fingers and happen overnight. So what we're going to do is then we will highlight people in our succession planning. And so if you hear that they've got a director title, we've identified them in our succession planning as the next person up. Should anything happen to the VP, they're the next person up. Cool? I'm not saying fair enough again. All right, kind of important reminders. We want to take a minute and go through this. Residents may have guests. There may be guests of residents in the resident's home for up to 30 days when the resident is present. When the resident is not present, you are not to have guests in your unit. Now, there is an exception to that, and I make an exception, and it's normally a medical exception, and it has to come through me. First of all, the person needs to be on your card. There's all kinds of requirements that we make people jump through. But what you can't do and what we don't want you to do is you have a guest, the guest is saying, and the guest brings a guest into the community. If the guest is not directly yours, they shouldn't be on our campus. Does that make sense? So because we had a situation where there was a guest of a guest, and it caused confusion, and it puts really crazy requirements under stress. Should we have allowed this person or should we have not allowed this person? So the guest should be your direct guest, not a guest through a guest, if that makes sense. For all non-resident overnight stays without resident present, it must be approved by me. That's what, if you don't get it approved by me. Now, what's an exception? Frequently you may have a medical emergency. You go to the hospital, you don't have anybody you can count on, so your family flies in from town. They're running 900 miles an hour with their hair on fire. They're not sure where they should go or what they should be doing, and the last thing they're thinking about is travel arrangements. I understand that. And then we get the question, can I stay in their unit for the next 3 weeks? And the answer to that is a clear answer, no. I'm going to help you. You want it? Ask for a week. I'll renew it for another week, provided that emergency still exists. But if you want, I will do a week. If you only need 3 days, only ask for 3 days. Because we put that on the list for security to be able to start checking that unit. Does that make sense to everybody? So I'm trying to help accommodate you because you're a resident and your family, but if it's not a medical emergency, there's a Holiday Inn Express. That's funny. Come on. All right. Centrix, we've kind of run into some people are kind of back and forth with Centrix. We just want to stress some of the cancellations and transfer service changes. Requests must contact Joy Donovan. You all know how to get a hold of Joy, right? 3720. The forms are at the Jackwoods Clubhouse, Oak Park Reception, and Cuba-Go. You must complete it to Joy, and it may take up to 7 days. So if you want it shut off today and you just did it, put that down, but realize she may not get it through the system for 7 days. Services are billed in arrears and appear on the next statement. Do not drop off your equipment. That's why you let Joy know. Joy will arrange it with maintenance to pick it up. And she's got her extension is 1028, 3720, get you to the same place. I use them both interchangeably sometimes. Committee checks. When paying for a specific committee, whether it is Spiritual Life Committee, any of the other committees that you may participate that you give funds to, do not combine it with your monthly service check. One check per envelope, one purpose. So if it's your monthly service fee, only make it out for your monthly service fee. If it's for Spiritual Life Committee, write another check and put it there. We're not going to split that and change that. We run that. We would be required to run that through our accounting system, and we would have to claim that as revenue. We don't want to do that. That artificially inflates that. So one check, one purpose. Good? Visitor badges, please. If your visitors are not using visitor badge, please make sure that they are. And what color should your visitor badge be? Blue. That's right, blue. If it's red, they're a vendor. If it's green, it's an employee. All right, fun scams. Anybody get an AI-generated scam yet? Yep, a couple people. That's why you need to make sure that you're very, very careful when you answer the phone. Is this Joe Trainer? What don't I say? Yes, that's what I don't say. Your response should be, who is this? Don't say yes, because they're going to record your voice, and then they're going to take the rest of your voice, and they're going to apply for a credit card, go after your mortgage title if you have any properties. They're going to go after anything and everything they possibly can. So please watch out. If it sounds like it's AI generated, and sometimes they are because they'll respond to you that way, if you're not expecting a call, hang up. Publishers Clearinghouse, now they're getting slicker and slicker every year, saying how you just won and you may choose your car to hook you in. And let's see, we're smack dab in the middle of tax season. More money is going to change hands in the next few months than any other time of the year. Please, does the IRS call you and tell you you owe them a debt? No, they don't. They send a letter. They send a letter. And if you're concerned about that, because every once in a while, I will get a piece of mail from one of you asking, Joe, is this a scam? What do I do with it? I look up the address. I look up the organization to see if it's legitimate. And sometimes I even call. I'll do that. So if you have issues with that, please reach out. Don't ever look at a piece of mail and say, I don't know if I should or I shouldn't. I'll give you the same advice I give my directors and now VPs. When in doubt, call. If you have any doubt whatsoever, let us know, because then we will go ahead and we'll report it on here and let other people know also. And never provide personal information or payment information to unsolicited contacts. Ad valorem. Didn't we just discuss that? And our forwarding email address or forwarding mailing address ends on March 3rd. Why is that important? Because if you haven't changed where you're mailing your check, where's it going to go? Back to you. Now, please make sure. While we've worked really hard to change a lot of the addresses that we've had from 101 North Lake to 701 Monastery, I'm going to ask that you do that too. So you still have a few weeks to be able to do that. Sales and marketing update. This is where we geek out a little bit. 288 calls, they had 4 sales. 1 of them was a military discount, which is still phenomenal. And then they had 10 individuals attend their January event that generated 3 serious prospects. This is the marketing stuff that they did for January. They did an email blast, and then they did a direct mailer. They had a Taste of JKV event and tour on February 4th, and we still promote military discounts. And then some of the fun stuff, you can look at that yourself. It's just the media posts, social media posts on Facebook, and you can see the number of people that looked at it and the number of people that responded, number of people that liked it. If you're a big Facebook person, hey, we don't mind you tagging on to that and providing some numbers for us. Human resources. If you didn't know, we took on PMC and we took on additional 59 employees. And so at any particular time, we're always looking for employees. So they did a job fair. And January 16th, I'm going to start on the one on the bottom, they reviewed 54 candidates and they extended offers to 32 of them. They had all the departments there. That was incredible. That's a 59% conversion rate. Now, will all those people stay? Probably not. But for right now, our numbers look good as when we hire somebody to be able to extend how long they do stay. But then at the DeLand Job Fair on January 24th, we engaged another 71 candidates for a whole host of jobs. This is just kind of, they love to use the multi-purpose room. You kind of can see it in some of the pictures with them in the background on the outside. And what I refer to as the bullpen with employees in the middle, potential employees in the middle. So we currently have 659 employees, 430 full-time. 229 belong to Majestic Oaks. And the next largest department is dining services or culinary services, soon to be changed, 118. Those are just some fun numbers. 229 part-time people. Why would that be so high? Because a lot of people, for an employee to be considered full-time with us, they have to work 37 and a half hours in a week. So 75 hours every 2 weeks. We have some people that only want to work 68 hours or 65 hours. In our book, that's considered part-time. So there's still a number of people that work a lot of hours, but they're considered part-time. We want to congratulate Amanda Delgado for being promoted to administrator at PMC. And everybody, let me stop there. Did everybody fill out a little survey for the name? Yes? Yes? Because Joy's back there and she's got a tally of what that looks like. So if you didn't, the time has changed. So what are we going to do with that? We will take that to the board. We'll take the top, we'll take all of them, but we're really going to take at least the top 3. And from there, the board will decide if we take the top number or how we work on that. There seems to be some, my last numbers, there seems to be some overwhelming numbers as far as which one finished on top. It's pretty overwhelming. And I believe that may be the one we go. Spoiler alert. Amanda Logan, she was the wellness liaison, and she's been promoted to assistant administrator at Oakview Suites. And Sarah Tracy, you just got an opportunity to meet. She started, if I remember correctly, on January 26th. So we congratulate them all and wish them the best. Go out there and do good things. And as my daughter likes to tell me, make good choices. All right, this is just kind of some of the fun stuff. If you didn't know, I do a resident town or employee town hall every quarter. And it's at the beginning of it's normally at the beginning of the next quarter. So at the end of the first quarter, it's the first week or second week in the second quarter that I do that. And we get quite a few employees that actually fill the Barker Center at 8 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And it is good to see, because I kind of share a lot of the things I share with you, with them, so they are in the know too. because there's so many times they keep their head down and keep working, and that information is never presented to them. So they really want to be able to do this. And that's just what we talk about. We give them an opportunity to have a voice, and then we also are as transparent with them as we are with you. There's good things, there's bad things, and there's things that we need to improve on. Operations. The Director of Nursing at Majestic Oaks is Susan McElfresh. We are welcome. She comes with a lot of experience, great history, great background. So we're thrilled to have her as the Director of Nursing. The remodel at Majestic Oaks is complete. We want to thank the foundation for the mattress purchases. What we did is we selected a mattress. The foundation added some money to that, allowed us to upgrade the mattress, all the bed mattresses at Majestic Oaks. So they all have an excellent mattress on the bed now. Since that's all done, all the furniture is new, all new mattresses. So we thank the foundation for their kind and generous donation there. And if you're going to healthcare, whether you're going to PMC, you're going to Majestic Oaks, you're going to Oakview Suites, they have that little AccuShield. Please sign in on that. We try to track who is in and who's out, and the number of people visiting residents at any particular time. So we ask that you do that. And Majestic Oaks is preparing for their ACA survey. ACA stands for Agency for Healthcare Administration. That is the surveying group for Florida that comes into skilled nursing centers and to assisted livings. Oakview Suites, we talked about Amanda Logan, so we can congratulate her. We've been replacing outdated electrical panels. So if you've been in the apartments and you've been without power occasionally, now and then, that's because what we've done is when we were coming through and we were doing it, we decided, well, why don't we do the electrical panels too? So we're updating the electrical panels. There are still more to do. The updates in the 300 Hall are complete. So 300 Hall is, remember, that's where the foundation kind of sagged. That's been done. All the rooms have been completed, and they're ready to be occupied. And I know there were only 2 rooms, and I think those have been occupied now. And Oakview Suites is preparing for an ACA survey. Again, all these surveys are unannounced. They have no idea when they're coming. And then currently there is no availability for 1-bedroom apartments. Surprise. Our 1-bedroom apartments, even though assisted living is dated, and that's the phrase I want to use, dated, it's still phenomenal space, especially the 1-bedroom apartments in assisted living. They have they're great space, and as we move forward, hopefully we'll be able to, in the next month or 2, announce certain things that we're going to do. And I think you'll be as excited as I am. At PMC, Amanda Delgado is there, and we just also hired a new wellness director, and her name is Kim Maldonado. Here's a fun little story in regards to that. Is Susan and Kim were both the 2 finalists for the DON job at Majestic Oaks. We gave it, Susan got it on merit and in her experience and everything else, but Kim was like right there. You could have flipped a coin and decided. Well, we had an opening for a wellness director, and we called Kim. And so we got our top 2 candidates that we had for Majestic Oaks as employees. I am absolutely thrilled. They're both phenomenal candidates. Both had deficiency-free surveys, ran great buildings, so we're thrilled to have Kim and Susan on the team now. We're acquiring new uniforms. Ongoing training and coaching continues. We switched our salon. We went to PS Salons. Now the same contractor has all the salons, has the salons in the Commons building, Majestic Oaks, and at PMC. And we will take over, in fact, today, we take over services, all therapy services at PMC. So I do know, if you know somebody who's a physical therapist, we're looking for one. All right, these are just some of the things that we're working on doing. The entire building has been pressure washed. Here's some of the fun things. We're going to be adding surveillance. I'm telling you that because we're also going to be adding surveillance at a couple of other areas. One, we're adding surveillance around PMC, completely around the building. That's off campus. We've talked about that before. That's in process. They're scheduling. I think the cameras finally came in, so they're looking at scheduling that. The other thing is, as we've completed Gatehouse 2, we understood some deficiencies that we may have had at some of the other two gatehouses. While we ran some new fiber for the Gatehouse 1, we'll also be installing additional cameras at Gatehouse 1. So if you see them, we only have a camera that looks out at somebody's license plates as they leave. So we'll be installing cameras that look at the vehicle coming and look at the vehicle going into the campus as well as going out. So you'll see them do that. We're also going to make sure that we have identical system at Gatehouse 3, and that's on Holly Branch. Then other little things, we're addressing some of the infrastructure issues that we have. 27th, they hosted a meet and greet with residents and families. They had 20 people show up. The families were very supportive, very pleased. The ombudsman went in there and was thrilled that we had taken over that building. We just transitioned this month, we transitioned the building, PMC, over to Oak Park Pharmacy from Guardian Pharmacy. So now all those residents get serviced by Oak Park also. We've kind of implemented a pendant system, standardized radios for communication, and we already talked about therapy service. Wellness liaison, Advent Health presents, that already happened as we did the digital drop-in, but Lil presents Brain Health by AARP on the 23rd, Coffee With on the 25th with Martha, and then part of the support groups, you all know those, and Talina's Coffee With in January is posted to YouTube. Campus services. You guys know all this, right? You're aware of all this, right? Yeah, Greg Parnell and Spring Dance Fling with Snake Eyes. Phyllis Dale's St. Patrick's Day Show. Give you a second to kind of go through this. Life on a Submarine on March 13th. That sounds like a good one. And don't forget, March 13th is also National Potato Chip Day. If you didn't know, March 27th is National Joe Day. I got you, man. Campus services, ladies luncheon on March 4th, Fresh Air Fair. We moved our fair that we did in the fall to the spring. And we decided to do it when the weather was a little bit cooler, a little bit nicer. So we didn't do it the first week of April. We decided to come and do it in the kind of the first week of March. So that's going to be that's our big event for the year. So if you're waiting for the one in the fall, don't. The Fresh Air Fair is the one you want to make sure that you get to. Celebration dinners, St. Patty's Day, men's lunch bunch, and I understand the speaker didn't show up for men's lunch yesterday. We're going to have to start developing a backup. Chef's Cook-Off and Game Night, March 27th. Fitness, Aqua Fitness classes are being added by Talina, and she's got a quarterly challenge. In January, the resident attended the most classes was Joy Brenner. Resident who used, yes. Congratulations. You got to see your name up in the presentation. February, residents who use fitness equipment the most is that challenge, and March is residents who invites and brings the most neighbors to fitness class. I'm interested in that one. Survey stance. You guys are going to have to help me with this one. These are the numbers for January. How do we move those numbers up? They're stagnant. They're not moving. I thought that was pretty good. Did it sound like sarcasm? I thought that was pretty good. 97.63. I got to be honest with you, I think those are phenomenal numbers. I think those are phenomenal numbers. 97% at Cranes, 98.82 at Oak Tree Grill. You guys really like the grill. So 97.63 is the average. I'll take it. I am very, very pleased with those numbers. And I'm glad we implemented survey stance. And now that you've seen it at Cranes and Oak Tree, where else might you see it? At JJ's is right. All right, fun stuff. Now, there was this big blow up about, I said asbestos, and I started getting emails about, oh my God. All right. There were just a couple of buildings that had asbestos. It was all encapsulated. It was either in the stucco or it was in the mortar or it was in the drywall mud that was used when the building was done. That's where they found it. Anytime there is asbestos is more than 1%, in this case, it was a whopping 2%. Now you're sitting out there saying, but Joe, that's a 100% increase. Yeah. When the scale is 1 to 100 and it's 2, I'm kind of good with that number. However, I wanted to make sure you understood the whole cost for the removal of what they have to do is going to be $10,000. Does that sound like a lot of asbestos to you? But that $10,000 number makes sense to you, doesn't it? That just supports the case. That's what we'll be paying. So that stuff needs to be done. They're working on the permits with Orange City to be able to get all that stuff in lock and load. You'll see I left that in there just as a teaser. I won't explain it. The roof drains on here on the Barker Center they have all kind of corroded, so we've had to go back and replace them all. That project is expected to be done in the next few weeks. Gas lines for PMC. The work has been permitted. They got the permits, and I don't know if the work has been completed. Exterior cameras, again, we talked about that. IT infrastructure. We did get one of their firewalls up. We talked about that, so one of their firewalls is up and operating and doing well. Tours, and then we're going to do some turf replacement. They have some courtyard. They have 2 courtyards in there, and they have grass. They take a lawnmower and they run it through the building to go cut that little bit of grass that's in there. And I've talked about this before. So what we're going to do is we're going to tear all that out and we're going to put artificial turf in those courtyards. Now, we thought, well, that's such a great idea. Let's see what it would cost to do Majestic Oaks. About 6 times that. So, we're considering it still, but we're going to be working on getting that done also. Apartment hallways. It's going to be 2 hallways per month or 2 weeks per hall is what it's going to take them. Ceiling lights have been changed out already. Commons area, the Cranes dining room is being scheduled. We haven't forgot about that. And what is the Cranes? It's just going to kind of get an aesthetic, paint, new carpet, and I'm going to guess, I'm told chairs are on, new dining room chairs are on the list for that. I don't know that it doesn't make sense to replace the tables since they normally have cover over them anyway. The Village, we did finally get our final bid, and it was just over $1 million to pave the entire village. And we're going to kind of do some other projects along with that. I say this is 2 weeks out, but we do expect it, we do kind of expect it right now, maybe around the first part of March. Our thoughts in regards to staging it is what we would do is go to a particular area and try to get the entire village scraped up, grind it out, get the loose asphalt. We're going to create a path from North Lake that goes to the putting green and on. There's that dirt path right now. We're going to use the grindings from the road to pave that. And we're going to use the grinding for the roads to go back and create a nice halfway decent parking lot for employees in the back. So we're in the process of designing that. We want to be able to take as much of that stuff as we possibly can and create better spaces with that. So we'll see what we end up doing with that. And then we overbid the project a little bit, so we're going to make some adjustments. Like we won't repave Holly Branch. That doesn't make a lot of sense to repave Holly Branch. Doesn't make sense to pave Valencia Landing, and that wasn't in the project anyway. But, or really, Oak Park Pharmacy, where the pharmacy is and administration is. Doesn't make a lot of sense to go ahead and maybe pave all that. But we're going to look at it and make those adjustments. And then we've already talked about the Oakview Suites project has already been completed. And this is kind of the map of everything that will be paved. What we missed on here is if you look into the left corner, probably about a third the way up, that is Majestic Oaks. We missed their parking lot in that. But those are all the areas that will be paved. That includes parking lots, that includes parking spots. So we're trying to stage a place for people, for the people that live in cottages, to move their vehicle out of the way so we can get that area. And we're not creating additional parking spots in front of your unit. So if you had that as a question, no, that's not on the list, and that's not what we'll be doing. Landscaping operations, I'm going to kind of go off script here a little bit. The freeze has killed a lot of stuff. I think about half my landscaping at home is dead. And I'm waiting for another few weeks to see if anything, do I see any signs of life. It is going to be expensive. That's not the problem. It will be availability, because it hit so many people. The HOAs are going to start getting on everybody's butt about replacing their landscaping and doing that. So landscapers are going to have a field day. They're going to charge whatever they want to charge. While we'll try to do as much as we can in-house, it is still the availability of getting planning material to replace stuff that is dead. I'm going to ask you, please don't send me nastygrams saying my stuff has been dead for 3 months. I'm going to know that. That's why I'm addressing this now. I'm trying to address mine at home, and, oh yeah, we'll put you on a list unless you know exactly what you want. Well, you can't get what I want right now anyway, because where you got it from, it killed it there too. So we'll see. I'm just going to ask for patience, and we'll try to keep you up to speed on the landscaping and the replacement of landscaping. Because I know my personally is going to be, I had rubella palms, and yeah, they're not showing any signs of life right now. We continue to do landscaping operations. So how do you guys like their new equipment? Yeah? Finally? March, they're going to start the second turf application and shrub fertilization. They're going to start doing some pruning. I think we have, another cold spell next Tuesday that is supposed to perhaps go below 30 with a wind chill. But we continue to do the never-ending leaf cleanup. And then irrigation checks and making sure all the irrigation lines are working. HVAC filters, this is just kind of their schedule. If it's a 1-inch filter, it gets changed once a quarter, every 3 months. If it's a 2-inch filter, every 4 months. If it's a 6-inch filter, it gets changed every 6 months. And during the filter change, they will put vinegar down your drain to make sure it keeps your drain open for your HVAC system, for the AC system. Refrigerator water filters, right now we're going to ask that if you have a refrigerator that requires a water filter replacement, call us. Well, we'd love to be able to put that on a regular schedule. It's going to take us a few rounds to be able to go ahead and get that done. And I know it expires exactly 180 days from when you put it in. because I had the same refrigerator in my house. Whole house water filters and salt filters, salt systems are checked and changed along with when the HVAC filter is changed. You guys all know how to submit maintenance requests, yes? Anybody not know? If you don't, there it is. All right, I want to address Holly Branch. I've gotten a lot of feedback in regards to the Holly Branch gate. And what I want to do is just take a couple slides and I want to discuss this. This is some of their concerns. This is some of the concerns. Traffic congestion, road conditions, delivery routing, fair and equal treatment. I hear a lot about why can't we have that gate open? All the other gates are open. Why can't we have delivery traffic? And in this particular case, you have to really be careful what you ask for, because the Holly Branch gate wasn't meant to be able to accept some delivery trucks. You're not going to get a Gordon's food truck through that gate. And if you do, kudos to the driver. But who in Holly Branch wants the Gordon's food truck going down their street? We have purposefully been limited access to the Holly Branch gate because it is a quiet neighborhood. I've heard that from so many people that live on Holly Branch. It is a quiet neighborhood, they want to be there. I start allowing traffic go unabated through there, they're the ones that are going to have to be careful. Because let me ask you, you've all seen them. Does the UPS driver drive the speed limit? How about the FedEx guy? Is he any better? How about individual Amazon deliveries? Nope. And they'll tell you when they come through the gate, I don't care. What are you going to do to me? And we've gone and we've called Amazon and we've reported them, but that's their feeling. What are you going to do? So why our whole gist has been to limit people coming through there, because I'm going to tell you, they know John Knox Village, and when they come on campus, they're coming on campus. If they come through, they're not just going to your house. There are 700 other residents on campus. Do you think they're not going to take advantage of being able to gain access to all that other instead of having to come back on campus? I think they're going to try to do it all at once. So fair and equal treatment under conditions isn't always fair and equal. So this is our core issue. Core issue is when we open that gate, it's open to all. And it's open at all times. So if somebody comes through that gatehouse at midnight and blows their horn, we have no control of it. What we can do is stop and say, stop blowing your horn. But it's the same safety standard for all residents. Not all gates operate identically. None of the gates operate identically. The traffic and road conditions will address that, but fairness means applying the same safety standards everywhere, not just on Holly Branch. So, why we use the main gate for deliveries? It's fully staffed and it's monitored, vendor verification, and it's designed for delivery traffic. That's why you have a double wide there. What I'm going to try to do is, we kind of covered this. We're going to be consistent and clear with our communication, and we're going to try to open the Holly Branch gate on a trial basis. I don't want to stand here, and I don't want to say, absolutely, we're going to go full throttle, unabated. No, what we're going to do is we're going to open the gate to deliveries and other traffic, and we're going to monitor that. But I want to be fair to the rest of the campus. I'm sure there's some people on Holly Branch that don't want all that traffic down Holly Branch and don't like it. And while we were trying to divert employees from going down there, if they happen to come through that way because the scanner works on them, how am I going to stop them? We will try to do that. We will communicate with employees not to do it. But at the end of the day, I'm only going to do this on a trial. So what's my trial? And I will do it, and I'll start it in the next couple of days, within the next couple of days, and I'll let it run through March. I will evaluate it when I get to March. Now, When I evaluate it when I get to March, guess who I'm going to ask? I'm not just going to ask the residents on Holly Branch, because I'm sure there's other things. What complicates this? The paving project. Because there's going to be road closures, there's going to be road restrictions. So I know what they're already going to say, well, that wasn't fair because there were road restrictions. I understand that. But if we find out that there are people just using that gate just to use that gate, and the traffic is not limited to Holly Branch and the Floribunda, Eucalyptus area, if they're coming all the way across to Sweetgum, that's not what that was for. We would ask that you use the main gatehouse. So I want to be fair, I want to be consistent, but my concern is everyone's safety. Because right now, I know a couple of people that pull out of their driveway in Holly Branch in their golf cart and they don't even look. That's going to change because there's going to be regular traffic up and down that road. Cool? All right. Now, if you have complaints, the resident council president is Mike Marks. I'm teasing. I just had to throw his name around a little bit just to tease him. He's not here, so he's fair game, right? Questions? Yes, ma'am.
This is more of a suggestion than a question with regard to rip-offs and things like that that we're all aware of. If people would lock, and you can do this very easily, lock your credit with Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And most people at this stage of life, we're not looking for a mortgage. We're probably paying cash for vehicles. Or even if you want to open a new credit card, if your credit is locked, they give you a number to call, and you can unlock it for an hour or two or a day, whatever you want, and you won't be as vulnerable. And there's no reason for most people to leave their credit open. You need to lock that sucker up.
100%. This public service announcement was brought to you by Mrs. Artigler.
I just am curious, when they do the paving, are they going to put a yellow line in the middle? Because I have almost a heart attack when I see somebody coming towards me and they're driving in the middle of the road.
No. Are we going to put a yellow line down the road to deviate halves? No. Why? Because who's ever not going to take is going to take their half is going to take their half from wherever they want to. That yellow line won't. Now, what it would do, but on the other side, I'll look at the other side. If we put a white line or a yellow line, whichever it happened to be, and you see somebody continually going over there, you see me, use me as the example, you continually see me going over that yellow line, you now have a duty to report me. Would you do it? Yeah. And see, that's an honest answer. That is an honest answer. You guys don't even want to tell us when your neighbor falls. But you're going to go ahead and tell on them when they cross a line on a regular basis? I see Joe drive over that yellow line all the time. So if we put the line, it would have to be for a reason. While yes, it's a guideline, but would you guys be willing to go ahead and tell on somebody for the purposes of keeping them safe? That's the purpose. And keeping other residents safe. We've been fortunate. We haven't had any head-on collisions with the Gordon's food truck or Olin and his group or anybody else, but that's kind of where we'll look at it. But it's a great question. It is a great question. Thank you.
I'm relatively new here, but I do support the idea of some kind of a line in the middle Because what happens, a lot of the curbs are kind of small, and you end up hitting the curbs with your tire, trying to squeeze over to make sure you leave enough room for the other side. And I think something in the middle would give you assurance that you're over enough, and you wouldn't hit the curb.
Okay. And what we may find out is that smart driving or safe driving is, I know there's a couple of spots. One is on South Lake, right in front of the Silverstones, where you come, where the trees are right there and you come around that corner. I don't ever try to go around that corner the same time somebody else does. I will stop because I know that really puts everything in question on whether I'm going to make it or they're going to make it. So I understand what you're saying, and I agree, but we also discretion in regards to, let's be just smart drivers. If you don't think you can pass with another car, be the courteous driver and just slow down or stop and let them go. Yes, sir.
One comment, one question. The new landscape vehicles, the Kubotas and Kawasaki's, are noisier than the food and gourd truck.
Uh-huh.
One question, how much longer are we tied to Centrix contractually?
Today is, I think we have just over a year, 17 months, I'm going to guess, 17 months. If my numbers are correct, because we signed in July or August. The biggest thing about Centrix, and I have this conversation with Joy on a weekly basis, is their phone service just doesn't work. Just flat out doesn't work. And we try to get people that have, get them that have extended outages in regards to Wi-Fi. And I've tried to use that as a tool, but now I hear Spectrum has the very same thing. People with Spectrum have just as many outages or have outages at weird times. I'm trying to think, what was it? Oh, the Chicago Bears playoff game. They streamed it on Amazon Prime. Did anybody try to get on at the time of the game? And did you get on right away? I didn't. I got there 30 minutes early, had no problem, went back to finish watching the rest of the game because I'm a Chicago fan, that's why I was there. And then it took me, I had to go back and reset everything because I thought, well, what happened? I can't get on, and it just kept spinning and spinning. So I had to reset everything that I had. And I don't use Centrix or Spectrum. That was just when I think they weren't expecting the internet traffic or flow of people trying to get online at that very same time. So there's some things that are going to happen regardless. We are on the same page. Centrix is not the provider that we anticipated them to be. And while we've asked them, we're coming up trying to develop new ideas, try to develop things to fix. I don't know that, here's my dilemma. If just on the phone, I don't know if it's them or anybody who would try to provide that same phone service. And I don't know that there were that many people that actually took Spectrum phone that have Centrix phone. That's where the disconnect was. We never expected that many people to take phone. Now, not an excuse for us, not an excuse for them. But those are the things we're trying to balance out. And in probably the next 6 months, I'll be ready to start having conversations with residents in regards to what are we going to do and which direction do we go. And from that, I anticipate that we'll develop a resident ad hoc committee to talk about entertainment services. Cool? Any other questions?
We have had no trouble with Centrix, but we do not have a landline. And I am not sure why people still have landlines, you know, I don't know.
Ooh, I could tell you, because Centris offered them that at little and no expense, and it's, I don't know that they have the infrastructure, and we talked about this before we even went on, and that was the whole thing in regards to TV. TV, as we know it, as it was when I was growing up, is going away. It's all going to be just one continuous streaming services. And YouTube has got the jump on everybody. But then you also have Sling TV. They're coming out of the woodwork. Tubi, Sling TV, all kinds of these other streaming services that offer regular TV for you. And me, I don't subscribe to anything. I just stream what I want to watch. I'll go find it, and that's what I do. And that's the way of the future, because there's just so much information available. There's no way to watch everything you want to watch. So you have to cut down and make things priority. My 2 cents. No, I'm not giving you change. All right, no other questions? Thank you for being here. You have yourself a great day, and happy St. Pat's Day.